Well, I'm Ashley Eckstein. I am the voice of Ahsoka Tano, and thank you. Thank you. Hi, you guys. And founder of her universe, and welcome to our Sisters of the Force panel. Hello. Oh my gosh, you guys. Well, okay, so I wanted to come out first and give you a little backstory on Sisters of the Force because it has a very special meaning to me. When I first founded her universe in 2010, I had a mission, and my mission was to say that Star Wars is for everyone. Star Wars is not just for the men and the boys. It's not just for women and girls. It's something that we should all enjoy together. So, yes, right? And so in order to do that, I wanted to create a community where female fans felt comfortable to step into the spotlight and say, hi, I'm Ashley, I'm a girl, and I like Star Wars, and be accepted and celebrated for that. So, yes, yeah. So I wanted to call that community Sisters of the Force. But at the same time, the Clone Wars were just coming out with the Night Sisters. And after talking with Lucasfilm, we thought that that could cause some confusion, like Sisters of the Force, the Night Sisters. So instead, Lucasfilm created us this awesome symbol that you'll see up on the screen. And there it is. Yes. So Troy Alders at Lucasfilm created us this awesome symbol for our Her Universe community that we still use today. You'll see it all over our products. But I never forgot about Sisters of the Force. And so I was excited to call this panel Sisters of the Force and celebrate the women of Star Wars today. But yes, I'm so excited. But I'm not going to do that by myself. I have an amazing panelist, my fellow Sisters of the Force. So please help me welcome the voice of Hera, Vanessa Marshall. The author of Star Wars, Women in the Galaxy, Amy Ratcliffe.
Yay!
The voice of Padme from Star Wars The Clone Wars, Catherine Tabor. Executive producer from Star Wars Resistance, Athena Portillo. And the voice of Tam from Star Wars Resistance, Susie McGrath. Oh my gosh, ladies. Look at this incredible audience we have today.
Wow.
Isn't this amazing?
Awesome.
Yes. Okay.
So I have to tell you, actually, this started, you know what? I think the couches got switched. Let's
Yes,
somebody
they
go
did.
over here.
Yes.
Yeah, Susie, come on over here.
Come over here.
All right, so the idea for this panel,
There we
we've
go.
done iterations of it at past celebrations, but actually me, Amy, and Vanessa were having lunch one day at a chicken place in LA.
Like you do.
Like we do.
Gotta love your protein.
And
Nice.
Amy and Vanessa and Kat had just done kind of a
round
podcast,
table, yeah.
a round table talking about the women of Star Wars.
And her wonderful book.
Yes.
Yes.
If you haven't gotten Star Wars Women of the Galaxy yet, check it out. And so we were just brainstorming. We're like, we need to have a Sisters of the Force panel at Star Wars Celebration.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Yes.
And here we are.
Yep.
We're here.
I remember you actually posted at that meal. You said, we're talking about great things, and I hope they happen. And many of my fangirl besties texted me that day, what's happening? What's happening? And I said, oh, you just wait.
Well,
So
this
here
is
we
what
are.
is happening.
This was it.
Yes, and so we have a very exciting hour planned for our audience here, but also our audience at home, because this panel is being live streamed. Hi, audience at home.
Hey.
Hello. So I've asked all of our panelists to share a story that we've never shared before. Something, and it can be anything, you know, how the Star Wars universe has inspired us, how our characters have inspired us, jobs have inspired us, and then we have a couple of surprises. So stay tuned. You might have a special giveaway at the end, so you are not going to want to leave. So I want to get to it because we have a lot to talk about. And I'm going to go first, and I have some notes here because I don't want to mess it up. But obviously, I'm going to start with Ahsoka Tano. And thank you. And, I also want to say, to my fellow sisters up here and hey, even in the audience, we're just having a chat today. I want this to be casual. I want this to be conversational, throw stuff out. We're just chatting in our living room that happens to hold up to 6,000 people, as you do.
That's how I watch all of my television shows with my 6,000 closest friends. Absolutely.
So this should just be fun, and let's just have a chat. Because these characters have, for me, Ahsoka Tano, she's just truly changed my life. Yeah. I think Ahsoka, when I obviously recorded the voice of Ahsoka for 2 years before it even came out, and I knew she was going to be groundbreaking because, no one knew that Anakin Skywalker had a Padawan, especially a 14-year-old girl. So she was groundbreaking enough about the fact that she was Anakin's Padawan. But then when people found out that she was a girl and she was the first Jedi that was a lead character in the Star Wars universe, that just sent ripples throughout the universe. It was groundbreaking. And I was so inspired by her that I kept on asking myself on a literally, regular basis when making decisions, I would ask myself, what would Ahsoka do? And as time went on, I realized that I wasn't alone. I was shocked at how many people were inspired by Ahsoka like me, especially when the season 5 finale of Clone Wars happened and Ahsoka walked away from the Jedi Order. To walk away, yes, this moment that's up on the screen, to walk away from all that you know, to walk away and have the strength to walk away alone, or to have the strength to walk away when your entire world is crumbling and it feels like everyone is against you, but you feel like you're standing up for the right thing. Yeah. That took so much strength. And I wasn't prepared for the amount of stories that I've heard over the years and from all of you about how many lives Ahsoka has saved. Truly, and I want you to know, if you share your story with me or anyone else up here, it means so much to us. You make such an impact on us. So when people come up and, there's been so many happy tears this convention. Yeah, it matters. Don't apologize. This is why we do this. So Ahsoka walked away at the end of Clone Wars. We didn't know if she survived. But thankfully, she showed up at the end of season 1 of Rebels.
Yeah.
Yes! And we found out that Ahsoka lives. Yes, so once again, Ahsoka gave us all hope. But we have the clip. Let's go ahead and watch it.
Fulcrum. Ahsoka. My name is Ahsoka Tano.
Why did you come here?
Because of you and your apprentice. Many in this system and beyond have heard your message. You gave them hope in their darkest times. We didn't want that hope to die.
So what happens now?
I don't know. One chapter has closed for you, Ezra Bridger. This is a new day, a new beginning.
Oh, good. I still remember when I first saw that and how much I cried. Star Wars, that happens to me frequently, if I'm being honest. Yeah. I'm sure I'm not alone. But that was such an incredible thing to see her return.
Yeah, I was there. I read it on the page. I knew it was going to happen. When that moment happened live on television, I leapt up and I screamed and I danced all over my house. That's how thrilled I was. I was like, yeah! Like, we won everything. Sorry.
I just wanted to say, too, because, being with Ashley and Ahsoka from the beginning, in the very beginning, like what you were saying, and she was so new, it was hard, and people at first didn't know what to make of it, and so to see Ahsoka be so loved and accepted, and the redemption of that is just, it's amazing. It in and of itself is such a great story.
Well, I will tell you, I care so deeply about Ahsoka that yes, the tears flow on a regular basis. Whenever I go into the studio, even now when we're recording some new episodes, there are, she just, all of our characters, everything we do for the franchise means so much to us. And yes, we're all very emotional. And I too cried when I watched that episode.
Woo. It's beautiful because you just see the woman that we kind of left behind there, and then the woman that she becomes.
Yeah.
That just fills you up, So.
Well, it's actually interesting you say that, because that's what I was just going to say. Ahsoka showed up in Rebels, and she's a warrior. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, like she just kicks butt, whether it's, fighting the seventh sister or epically fighting Darth Vader, where she says, she's like, I'm no Jedi. So I think Ahsoka throughout Rebels, that's where I really, I just strive so hard on a daily basis to be a real life version of Ahsoka. And I literally every day ask myself, what would Ahsoka do? But I think the key word for me is I strive to be like Ahsoka. But I actually know a real life Ahsoka. And I want you guys to meet her too. So, okay, I'm gonna try to get through this. There were supposed to be tissues up on this.
Uh-oh. We'll get them.
Okay. So, meet Miranda. This is Miranda. I met Miranda back in 2013 at a Doctor Who convention. She was just 9 years old here. Whew. We connected right away, and even though she was dressed as a weeping angel, I just knew the Force was strong with this one. And so I actually asked her mom, I said, are you on Instagram? Because I want to follow you. And so luckily she was, and that's what I did, and I just followed along, because I fell in love with Miranda. And let's see, in 2014, Miranda was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma, a form of cancer that typically affects kids and young adults. But like a warrior, Miranda fought and beat cancer.
Wow.
Yes. She fought and beat cancer for the first time. But then, like a warrior, Miranda fought and beat cancer for the second time. Then, like a warrior, Miranda fought and beat cancer for the third time.
Wow. Look at her.
Now, Miranda is 15, and she is fighting, and she is gonna beat cancer for the fourth time.
Yeah.
She is fighting it. Miranda just got out of the hospital. She was in the hospital for 35 days straight. And I want to read you this update from her parents that they posted on social media. If you ask us 2 weeks ago, we wouldn't have been able to tell you that she would even make it out of the hospital. We were forced to discuss and make some difficult decisions. She was very weak, in pain, and was sleeping most of the time. And we were told to prepare ourselves. Her doctor talked to her to explain what could happen and wanted to make sure we followed her wishes. Her answer, I want to keep fighting. And she did. We brought home our warrior today, despite everything we heard, saw, and experienced. And she is getting stronger every minute.
Amazing.
Let's get Oh man.
Yeah.
You got this.
That was gonna be strong for her. You guys, Miranda is a warrior. And Miranda is a real life Ahsoka Tano. Yes. So, Miranda inspires me every day, and I thought, you know what, let's give her a little inspiration because she is actually turning 16 next week on April 19th. And I thought it would be pretty darn cool if we all sang her happy birthday. What do you think?
Yeah.
Should we sing Miranda happy birthday? So yeah, let's bring up the lights, and on the count of 3, we're gonna sing for Miranda. So 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Miranda. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
So, Miranda, I know you're watching from home. Happy birthday from all of us here at Star Wars Celebration. Happy birthday, Miranda! Whew. Okay. Wow, thank you for getting through that with me. Thank you, Philip. Round of applause for Philip.
May I
Okay.
as well?
Yes, yes. Tissues for everyone. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Take one. Put that back in the middle. Okay.
Now, Amy,
Oh man.
you're next.
Oh dear.
I am. I got this. It's fine.
No, Amy, you have such, I think, just such a cool story because I met you as a fan through the Clone Wars. And now you're up here as an author. You wrote a book called Star Wars Women of the Galaxy
Yes.
Thank you.
that we love.
Thank you.
And you are just doing so many cool things. You're one of the hosts here at Star Wars Celebration. Tell us about your journey.
Oh, absolutely. Ashley is someone I met back in Clone Wars. Star Wars helped me figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I was well into adulthood, so it's never too late. And it was just through talking about Clone Wars and connecting with fellow fans online, especially fellow fangirls, and that's when I'm like, oh, writing. This is it. Writing about the things I'm passionate about. And Clone Wars and Ahsoka inspired that. And furthermore, Ashley, you really helped me when I was starting out and helped me make some connections with Lucasfilm, and so I could cover Clone Wars events as media. And I don't know, that was in 2009, 10-ish. You had just were just starting her universe, and it's been a journey, and I can't believe from where I started how am I here? Am I really here? I don't know.
You know what, though? Someone once gave me the advice. They said, if someone opens a door for you, it's okay. Walk through it, but you have to be the one to walk through it. And so I had just an opportunity to get you on the press line, but you were the one that walked through the door, and you did all of the hard work to get here today.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm so honored, and from starting there, I started my own blog, and that's where I put a lot of writing, and then slowly but surely I built up paying work for writing for sites like IGN and Nerdist, and then eventually I was able to write full time, and that led to writing Star Wars Women of the Galaxy.
Amazing.
And if you haven't heard about the book, it's about 75 female characters in Star Wars. And they're from the films, they're from the books, from the comics, from the animated series. I've gotten to write about all the characters these lovely ladies play, including Tam, and I wrote about her months before Star Wars Resistance was out, and that was a secret I had to keep. And it's just, and then there are illustrations. We had 18 female and non-binary artists work to create art of these characters so you see them like you've never seen them before. And it just came together in this beautiful package, and it was brought to me by Lucasfilm, and my publisher, Chronicle Books, and I'll never forget getting the email that's like, is this something you'd be interested in writing? And I was like, is that who would say no?
Is that a question?
I closed my laptop because I didn't really believe it. And I'm like, maybe this is a trick. I don't know. I'm a cynical person sometimes. And then I opened my laptop back up, and the email was still there. And then I struggled with how many exclamation points to put when I replied with yes. Like, how many is professional? How many is going to be like, oh, way too much enthusiasm. And then I wrote the book. And one of the joys of it was getting to, I love reading the books and comics and just all the Star Wars I can get my hands on, as I'm sure many of you share that feeling. I just need it. And it was a joy to highlight characters who maybe haven't been in the spotlight before. And you can see in this photo, actually, I did a signing at a bookshop in Burbank, California, and some of those, like, Iden Versio from Battlefront, like, I gotta write about her, and somebody cosplayed her.
Wow. That's so cool.
It was so cool.
That's such a great picture.
Yeah, the Rebel Legion and 501st ladies showed up in force.
And the Perky Nerd in Burbank is an awesome store. So if you're in California, you have to visit the Perky Nerd.
It is.
A women-owned comic book shop.
Yes.
Amazing. Yes. And so,
This is Burbank.
Yes, in Burbank, yes. Gotta go. Yeah. Group trip. You can all come too, it's fine. It'll be great.
Yeah, let's all go.
So in doing this research, I came across this very obscure character who I read about in the Canto Bight novella before The Last Jedi. So Durla Paitis is an alien who appears in the background of the Canto Bight scenes in The Last Jedi. But first, she was highlighted in this novella in a short story called The Wine and Dreams by Mira Grant.
Okay.
And, right, it's a great story. And, it's like maybe 60 pages, and I connected to the prose, to the writing, but I connected so strongly with Durla, and it took me a little while. Like, I'm a person who, consumes something and then I process for a long time. I'm going to be thinking about the episode 9 trailer, and I'll have a feel about it like next week. Just I got to think about a lot. And Durla is remarkable because she's a sommelier. She goes around the galaxy. She is known for not only having exquisite taste in fine alcohols and being like the best at identifying them and breaking down all the notes, and just really respected for doing good deals. And she's a businesswoman. She is an aces businesswoman in the Star Wars galaxy. And I love that, yes, Ahsoka, Hera, heroes, Sith, all of the things, but also here I am connecting to this woman who is just doing her job. And this story shows how she just hunted down, she looked for this rare wine and made connections. And it's a lot about how she figures it out and plays the situation to her advantage. And is just so incredibly smart and sharp. And I'm like, you know what? This is not the kind of woman who, when she writes an email, puts a winky face to make it sound like she's not trying to be, I'm sure, do any of you relate to that? Like, she doesn't use the word, she doesn't wear the just, when you throw the just in, or like, can you please do this? Like, no, Durla gets things done.
She gets things done.
And that's something that has inspired me as someone. I've always had overachiever tendencies. And, if you're in school, you're like the teacher's pet, and like people make fun of you. And if you're in business, I've had people tell me to my face, like, you're working too fast and you're making the rest of us look bad. I'm like, but I'm passionate. I'm trying to do my job. And Durla would not stand for any of that. So she was just I just unexpectedly inspired by her.
That's awesome.
And I think that's what's so amazing about all of these characters in Star Wars, and I often say that even though it takes place in a galaxy far, far away, the situations are very real. I mean, we can all relate to what Durla is going through, or Ahsoka, or Hera, and I think that's why we all connect to all these characters so much, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
Well, I have to go read that story now.
Yes, highly recommend.
Well, awesome. Well, so from Durla to Padme.
Thank you, guys. So I've been talking for 3 days, so I have some notes too, in case I forget. what I'm saying. But, you know, having been Padme now for 10 years, and then, you know, you asking, like, what's a story that people haven't heard? And I'm like, oh my gosh, they've probably heard all of my stories at this point. But it really, and it's similar with what you were talking about, when you take on one of these characters, you are suddenly gifted with the ability to make people happy just by being there, just by signing something, doing a voice for a phone message. And that is like, it's an honor. And you realize, and I was telling Susie about it, I was like, this is your Star Wars mission. If you choose to accept it, you will be able to make fans happy. And all you really have to do is just like not screw it up and be a jerk. And you know, it's really a gift. And I want to tell you about the first person, the first fan that I met where it struck me. And I know that this is a Sisters of the Force panel, but I hope that you will allow me to tell you about a boy, because we still really like boys. I know, I do. Anyway.
Well, and of course, and as we said in the beginning, Star Wars is for everyone, so that's the message.
Yes.
Even though we're celebrating the women of Star Wars today,
yes,
our message is Star Wars is for everyone. So I love that you're sharing your story about.
I thought it was fitting for Padme too. But so, it was back in 2010, and it was my first celebration, and we were just really, you know, Star Wars was just starting, Clone Wars was just starting to really cook. And I was introduced to this young fellow, and because he was such a big Star Wars fan, but he was specifically a Padme fan. And this is Jacob. He was actually 13 then, but I think he looks much younger and, you know, more jubilant. He's not like a, you know, grumpy teenager at all. He just had such joy and just wanted to talk about the character of Padme. He loved Padme. And he right here is only recently in remission from a form of cancer called Burkitt's lymphoma. He came into the Star Wars family because he was just such a fan, and he had the year before gotten to meet Natalie Portman as his Make-A-Wish wish.
That's awesome.
And so by this point, he's in remission, but he's just still such a Padme fan. And so we talked about Padme, and we would go on and see each other at future events. And when I had gotten home, his parents had done this amazing online journal about Jacob's journey, and it was for their own experiences, but also to help other families who were dealing with sick children. And Star Wars was just laced throughout it, from playing the Lego Star Wars game, dressing up in Star Wars costumes for Halloween, and when the Clone Wars movie was coming out, they waited to go to a theater in the morning when it wasn't crowded because of his immune system. So just knowing that, how much it meant to him, I was like, wow, we have a gift working in this universe and being able to be a part of it, because it brings people so much joy. Now, I knew why I loved Padme, but I wondered why this boy who had all these characters to choose from, why he loved her so much. And so I asked Jacob, and here is what he said. A quality I love about Padme is how she always deals with her problems head on. She was always ready to get in on the action and fight her own battles, even though she was a senator or a queen in episode 1. And most others wouldn't in her situation. I also liked how, despite whatever trouble she got herself into, she was always able to get herself out as well. So I guess you could say that I admire her courage and resourcefulness, 2 traits she passed on to her daughter. Let's take a look at some of that.
Better watch out. There's a Jedi on the loose. Uh-oh.
You know you will soon be destroyed. I can't tell you how many times I've seen battle droids sliced in half by a lone Jedi.
Quiet, you. All right, cut the chatter. I want you troops to go outside and secure the perimeter.
You made it! I'm rescued at last. Hurry before the battle droids figure out what's happening.
Quiet in there.
Thank you. Let's get out of here, Master Jedi.
Jedi? There's no Jedi in here. Wait, there's no prisoner in here. How did she do that? Where's the alarm button?
Love it.
That is awesome.
Amazing.
So good.
Yeah.
So I love what Jacob is saying because Padme's not a Jedi, and she's not a warrior, but she is a fighter, and I love that. And what I love about Padme is that she is a fighter for the truth and the light, and I just find that to be such a good reminder for me personally too. You know, like we can get all caught up in our lives and you know, stuff that we're angry about, but there really is. It's great to use your fight, your energy, and your time for something good. And you know, Padme does that all throughout the saga. In E.K. Johnson's book, Queen's Shadow, which I highly recommend.
Yay.
She shows Padme continuing on to fight for the good of others and using her own resources. And I just think that that's something that I admire. And the fact that Jacob beat cancer, fought as well. And then that's what he admires about this character too, that she's a fighter for the good out there, for the light side. And even though not all stories turn out the way that we want them to, like Padme's did not, although I still have hope that it was maybe not her in the funeral procession, and it could have been a decoy. And I'm just saying, I don't know, maybe episode 14, the Force Bearer's Return.
Oh.
Just saying, I don't know.
Put it out there, yeah.
But some stories do turn out the way that you hope that they do. And Jacob and I are still in touch, and he just celebrated his 22nd birthday.
Whoa. Wow. That's incredible.
And he is starting college in the fall, and he said he's studying media and film. So I'm hoping he will hire me someday.
Well, and hello, Jacob.
Yes,
Watching from home. Hi, Jacob.
And his mom, Christina.
Yes, hi, Christina.
Hi, Christina.
Hi. And I have to do a little plug because if you haven't downloaded it already, Kat narrated the audiobook for Queen Shadow. So you can listen to Padme narrate the book, which I think is really cool.
Thank you.
All right, well, from a fictional fighter, even though I actually have to say, Kat strives to be so much like Padme too in her real life, just as much as I say, what would Ahsoka do? I think you often ask yourself, what would Padme do?
Yes.
And
Except when it comes to men.
Brilliant.
That's a good point. I think you could give her some pointers. True.
Although he was cute. I mean,
You're not wrong. Yeah.
So.
All right, well, let's go to Athena, because Athena, you are a real life fighter. Yes, woo! I have to say, we have the joy to watch Athena work from time to time, and you're just like a mad scientist in there, like getting these episodes made and getting things done and refining the budgets. And I've seen you on phone calls, and you're just such an inspiration.
Thank you.
Tell us about what you do, because if you don't know of Athena yet, which you probably do because she's in lots of awesome videos and for Star Wars Resistance recently, but man, she is a force.
Thank you, Ashley. You know, what I just realized while you were all talking is I'm actually in the writers' conference when Filoni decides what your stories are.
Oh.
Before you even get an opportunity to read the scripts and actually voice act them, so I get to know first. Well, my introduction to Star Wars started in 1977. When I was 5 years old and my dad took me and my sister to see Star Wars: A New Hope at the Coronet in Geary Street in San Francisco. The image that always sticks with me is the first time, and I'm sure you all resonate with this, the first time you see the Star Destroyer, at that top edge of the screen, that changed my life forever. And I know that sounds silly to say, because I got intrigued. I was sucked into a space opera that lasted 2 hours, and that was at the age of 5. And then when The Empire Strikes Back came out, I remember once again being in line for 2 hours with my dad and my sister Vanessa, waiting, get the tickets, go in, and this is the first time I actually developed a crush on someone. It was on Luke Skywalker. Woo! What's funny is my crush was Luke Skywalker, and my sister's crush was Han Solo. And my sister's like, what is it about Luke Skywalker? You know, why him? I'm like, because he's a Jedi and he wears black. He's like awesome. Like, he eventually, right, he will be. But it was also the fact that he was just so vulnerable too. So you see that vulnerable side of him in Empire, and then you suddenly see him like being the Jedi that he is in Return of the Jedi. So then we go to 1995. I'm at San Francisco State University studying journalism. It was my last semester. And I was like, oh gosh, you know what? I'm supposed to be fulfilling some credits for an internship. Let's see what we have here. Well, in the hallways, I found an internship for Lucasfilm, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, is this really happening? And in my heart, I didn't think I would ever get it. So there was like 5 of us that were submitting for the internship. But I was the one that waited till the last minute to submit it to the post office at 4 p.m. at the cutoff, because I knew in my heart I would not get the internship. I don't know why. But I actually ended up getting the phone call to come in for the interview. I was 45 minutes late to the interview, which I'm sure my coworkers in the audience are thinking, you late? But I was, because I got lost. This was at a time where we didn't have cell phones, and I wasn't like looking at GPS or anything, right? Because I didn't have that. So I was going up Lucas Valley Road. I passed the Big Rock, and I was like, okay, I'm totally lost. So I turned back around, went back down the road, went to a payphone, called, and they're like, you were just 5 minutes away. Because I'm like, but I didn't see anything. Well, we're hidden. We're not gonna like say it's Lucasfilm. Well, I showed up and I walked in and I looked at Stacy Charagotis, who was the one that interviewed me, and I said, I'm so sorry I'm late. And then she goes, yeah, we already gave the job to someone else because you were late. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. She goes, I'm just kidding. She's like, everybody's late whenever it's the first time coming to the ranch. Well, to make a long story short, I ended up getting the job as an intern in '96 in the licensing division. And I just never thought from '96 to where I am now that I'd be here. So I was in licensing for 4 years. I would volunteer my time to ILM when they were working on the special editions because I was intrigued with visual effects. So I actually left Lucasfilm for about 6 years to explore visual effects. But in my heart, I always said I was gonna come back somehow. And I really wanted to get into animation. So I came back to Lucasfilm in 2006, and Dave Filoni would make fun of me because I was in an office with Colin Slevin, and I was working on a show called Strange Magic at the time. And Filoni came in and said, yeah, are you the one with the Jedi 96 license plate that I see? I'm like, yeah, that's me. He's like, well, why are you working on a show about fairies when you could be working on my show, Clone Wars? I was like, make it happen. So from there on, I've been working with Filoni. He's given me the opportunity to work on Clone Wars, on Rebels, on Star Wars Resistance. Yay. So to be up here with all of you is just amazing to me because you are the ones that bring the characters to life. Wow. I'm just in the background doing the schedules and all that stuff.
No. It takes teamwork to make the dream work, and it takes the entire team.
Thank you.
Yeah. And now you're a general.
I'm a general.
Yes.
What I find amazing, though, is I just never thought that being an unpaid intern would ever get me to a point of being an executive producer here. And this photo here is a photo of our team when we were working on Clone Wars back at Big Rock. With Dave Filoni, George Lucas, Carrie Silver, and a lot of team members that are actually here in the audience right now. And at this time, I was a line producer on the show. And what I love most about my job is the fact that now I have the opportunity to give others internships PA positions, coordinator positions, manager positions. I get to mentor them. They get to grow, and I get to put them in departments that they've always been wanting to be a part of. So as an example, some of the coordinators I've worked with, they moved on to animation coordination, story and layout coordination, lighting and effects coordination. They've been promoted to production managers, producers, and it just makes me feel good knowing that I've had an opportunity to mentor them, and that's what makes me really happy.
Paying it forward is like, that's tremendous that you do that. I think that's, like when you're in a position, like you're like, that's amazing.
And you get to give actors jobs too, you know, and creating, you know, this opportunity for people like me, so.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been great, yeah.
Well, and I think there's another photo of you, right?
I was asked, and this I thought was like an April Fool's joke, but I could not believe that they asked me to be a part of the Hollywood Reporter Power 100 Women of Industry.
Awesome. Look at that.
To be able to share that with Kathy Kennedy, Jackie Lopez, Pippa Anderson, Rain Roberts, like everybody in that photo is just, just one of the most memorable experiences to just be there, and just the women that we have in the industry is fantastic, and the fact that we have the opportunity to give those opportunities to them as well, and diversity, which is amazing.
Yes.
That's what I love so much.
Well, Athena, thank you for all you do, because you are definitely responsible for all of, I mean, partly responsible for what we all do. The show wouldn't, these shows wouldn't be possible without you and your team, so thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now, Susie, we are so excited to have you here and to be one of our new fellow Sisters of the Force. Give Susie a huge welcome to her first Star Wars celebration.
Welcome. Thank you so much for having me. And like, I just feel so honored to be here and to be among such fierce human beings, you know, on the stage and in the audience. And so it's a dream come true. And as you all know, I am new to the Star Wars family. So in the spirit of like kind of getting to know one another, I wanted to share a personal story, if that's okay.
Yes.
And it's about my journey of finding my voice and overcoming a speech impediment, which is a little bit ironic for a voice actor, right? So I was about 11 years old. Just at that time when you go from primary school to secondary school, so I believe just around this time. So I was going into high school, what they would say in the States, and it's a crucial time in a person's development, because you have to start making new friends, finding out where you fit in and your kind of identity, and I just developed this stutter, and it just really got in the way. And I remember just going to say things and it just wouldn't come out. So my brain would, you know, think of the thought, and then I would go to speak and it would not come out. And I would kind of stand there and be spluttering and making like these weird, awkward sounds. And I kind of got into this pattern of like tapping my leg, and then it would just blurt out. And just being filled with dread and like kind of like vulnerability and embarrassment of, just like not being able to communicate as you actually want to. I remember I used to like have to get my mum to call my friends, because back in those days, we didn't have mobile phones. So there's my siblings. I'm the youngest, and I think being the youngest was a big part of the stutter anyway, just kind of having to fight to speak, I guess. So I used to have my mum had to make phone calls for me. I would dread being asked questions in class. So it was a big part of my growing up. And I did have speech therapy, but just for a short amount of time. And I had the stutter for many, many years, and we never really got to the bottom of it, but I basically, just through persistence and just the will of just wanting to be able to communicate as I, formed my thoughts, I kind of have overcome it, and I'm happy to be sat here today and able to talk to you all.
Yes.
So that's awesome.
Well,
yeah, and like, thank you. And had you have ever, have told that young girl back then that she would, be an actor, or be a voice actor, or be, a character in Star Wars, that's just like, wow. I just would never, ever have thought that that would ever be possible.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's one of the like big things that I love about Tam is that she's a dreamer and that I'm a dreamer too, and she's awesome, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
yes.
like, for me, it's what I want to kind of offer you by sharing my story is that I just never give up. We all have our hurdles, and I just think keep dreaming and just don't give up, and no matter what that is. And I hope that inspires you to keep going with the things that you have going on too. So yeah, and it's lovely to meet you all.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So we do have a clip for you from the end of season 1.
Of Tam finding her voice too.
Tam! What are you doing?
Getting away from you and Yiga. How could you do this, Kaz? Everything you told me was a lie.
No! I mean, yes, I mean, Tam, I work for the Resistance. I only want to help the galaxy, I swear to you.
He's telling the truth, Tam.
You? After all the work I did for you, trusting you, expecting a better life, all for nothing. You were like a father to me, but all that was a lie.
Tamra, they are the ones who are lying to you. Of course I believe in you. You're capable of great things. But they are not who they say they are.
We are giving her protection and a higher purpose. You, on the other hand, are a danger to everyone around you.
Yeah. Woo! Thank you. Bravo.
Susie, thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
I think it's so brave. And I challenged everyone to share a story that they had never told before. And Susie said, you know what? I've got one. Is it okay if I share that? And thank you. You've inspired me so much today.
Well, it's honestly something that I never tell people because it's the kind of thing that you just want to remain in the past. But I figured, we're here to get to know one another.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We're just in our living room chatting. Yeah. Thank you. Well, Vanessa.
Yes.
Hera is awesome. Hera has inspired me and so many others out there. And a lot of it is because of you, too. You, in many ways, are like Hera. So tell us about your journey.
Well, I'll tell you about my journey. I first just want to say Tia Sarkar wishes she could be here today. Unfortunately, she had another panel and a conflict and wasn't able to join us, but she wanted me to make sure that you know how much she loves you and sends her love and light and wishes she could be here. So I'll let you know that. And yeah, playing Hera has had a massive impact on me and her values, her focus, and her humor. But there are 3 moments that stand out for me. And one is when she tells Ezra, we have hope that things will get better, and they will. And when she said that, it gave me hope. And later when she says, or actually it's before she says, if all you do is fight for your own life, then your own life is worth nothing. She inspired me to fight for others who need it, wherever they are, and I seek them out, and I do. I stand up for people, and that really has been so inspiring to me. And then also, there was a moment when Hera loses her Kalikori, her family totem, to Thrawn, And there's a scene that I have here that I'd love for you to see, and I'll talk about that.
I have learned not to underestimate you. Fortunately, the Empire has not.
At least not yet.
I'm sorry about the Kalikori, Hera.
I thought I needed it to keep my mother's memory alive, but I have you. I have my father, and I'm surrounded by my family every day. As long as we hold on to that, she'll live on. Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting to me, that was such a beautiful moment that pointed out that sometimes our chosen family can be stronger than blood. And my coming into this Star Wars family, and I'm honored to be up here today, I found my family in my Ghost crew, my fellow castmates, but also I want to give a shout out to the Star Wars fans. And yeah, I could tell you countless stories. The first Star Wars weekend, I got a set of Leku from this beautiful woman, Allison Berrios, cosplay for Jedi. She stood out in the cold. It was actually cold that night in Florida, if you can believe it, to give me this gift. And I've never seen such human kindness from a stranger. It kicked off there. Recently, I had a fan give me a Kalikori that he made. He was a Kanan. He cosplays as Kanan, and he came into a photo op with a Kalikori. I lost my mind. Like, oh, this is gonna be a great shot. This is me in the photo. You know. You know, there have been a billion other stories being made. An honorary member of the Rebel Legion, of the Mandalorian Mercs, of the 501st. You know, I have family all over the world today as a part of, you know, getting this role of Hera, and it's just impacted me so hugely. And there's one fan that I wanted to talk about today. I didn't know what exactly to say today. And I thought of Darth McKenna. I don't know if you guys know her. I met Darth McKenna back at Star Wars Weekends in 2014, and we became friends on Twitter, and she told me that Ashley inspired her to, you know, to be her dream, to flaunt her dream. I mean, she's just living her dream right there. And I grew up, I was such a shy kid, and I could never do this. Oh. You know, my fandom was so, such like a sacred, quiet thing, but she inspired me to just live out loud and be who you are. And I never forgot her, and we've stayed in touch. And I did an article, there she is with her brother Aiden, and I did an article for her in the Star Wars Insider. So I didn't want to talk about her today because I've already told her story. But recently I ran into her at a convention, and she seemed different. And I wasn't sure, it just, that the light was gone, and I worried about her. And so much that I can't, there she is, look at her, how cute. I emailed her mom and I said, your daughter's on my heart, and I just want to make sure everything's okay. And what I found out is that she had been bullied in school, and that it had had a horrible impact. And it broke my heart. It broke my heart that she was having depression, and just that there, you know, words matter, and how we treat each other matters. And at 11 years old, that she was experiencing so much pain broke my heart, and it just came to me in a flash. And I realized that I wanted her to come here today. And I'm gonna bring her out on stage. And ladies and gentlemen, this is Darth McKenna. A part of a story that I've never told is that I too have suffered from depression, and I've had my own dark days when I thought there's just no point. And I have been brought into the Star Wars universe, and I am so grateful that I stayed. And I wanted her to come out here today so that we could all surround her with love and light and let her know just how much she matters. And thank you for doing that. And I want to let anyone else know who is at home or anyone who is struggling that the light is stronger than the dark. And you know what? We are Star Wars family, and you are never alone. And we love you.
Oh my gosh, I need another tissue. Well, so we thought, you know what, there's no better way to end this panel than to ask Darth McKenna to step into the spotlight and be celebrated. But can we bring up the house lights? Because we want you to step into the spotlight and be celebrated. So here, let's stand up. Darth McKenna, please come in the center. And actually, you know what, girls? Anyone that's in costume, besties of the house, come on up. We want everyone step into the spotlight.
Come on down. You look great.
Come on down. Oh, here, I need a hug. Give me a hug. Give me a hug. This is a happy panel. So, okay, so we're gonna start just by calling out characters, but stay standing. Let's see. Let's start with the Ahsoka cosplayers, because I seen Ahsoka. If you're dressed as Ahsoka, stand up. Or even in fashion. If you're in a Her Universe, you know, a top, anyone celebrating Ahsoka, stand up. Okay. Yes, guys too. Ahsoka lives. All right. Okay.
I see you, Padme.
All
We're having
Padmes,
other Padmes
stand up.
out there.
I know.
Okay, what about Leia's? Any Leia's out there? Leia, stand up.
Wow.
Vanessa?
Are there any Heras out there?
Any Heras? Yes. Any Sabines for Tia? Any Sabines?
Any Sabines? Oh, yeah. Wow.
Awesome. Anyone from Star Wars Resistance?
Yeah, any Star Wars Resistance out there?
Woo-woo. Yes. Okay, any other Sisters of the Force that we haven't mentioned, stand up.
Yeah.
Ray.
Oh, look at Ray. Ray. Please, all the Rays stand up.
It's so good. Yeah. I want to take a picture.
And this kind of looks familiar. This is Skya, right? Now, Skya, what Ray costume is this? In Episode 9, Ray. How did you get that done? Oh my gosh. What about Rose? Any Roses stand up? Yes. Rose Tico, yes. All right, well, a huge round of applause for all of our Star Wars fans and our Sisters of the Force here today. Now, one final surprise for you. I mentioned a giveaway. You all got one of these cards when you walked in. And our Her Universe team, several of them are here. Hi, Her Universe team. We all got together and we wanted to give you a gift. So our